Yeah, I had to come on early. Big deal happened last night. We got to see how the market is going to react to this big deal. And get, yep, market reacts positively to this big deal that happened between U.S. and Japan. Biggest trade deal in history, $550 billion trade deal between the U.S. and Japan. Let's see, let's look at this a little bit. But the thing is, I see that uh, Webull has updated and it looks a little different. It looks a little different, but the SPY is up almost 0.5% in pre-market, which is good news. Let's see what else. What am I trying to do now? Uh, hold up. Let me go over here. Let me go over here. You know, I can do that from over here. But yeah, U.S. secures biggest trade deal in history. Let's see. Let me see what's going on. I gotta go change some things real quick. Yeah, but U.S. secures that Japan deal worth 500 billion is the biggest trade deal in history. Appreciate y'all for joining me. I'm your host, the one on the Stock Sniper, and I'm up early this morning. Hey, what up, Pew? Appreciate you for joining me. I'm up early this morning. Big news, big news. Trump secures China deal, not China, Japan deal, and lowers tariffs to 15% on Japan, which is good news. And I'm up early this morning reacting to see what's going on in this market. And as we see, we are up. Hey, Camus, how you doing, Camus? Appreciate you for joining me. As we can see, because of that news, we had a positive reaction in the market. Let's see what Bitcoin did. See, the thing is, what I was talking about a few minutes ago is that my broker updated, and it has changed a lot. So I got to figure out some things because it has changed, which is good. I'm trying to get, gosh, trying to pull up Bitcoin on here and not Bitcoin Cash. See, that's the thing I like about this broker is that, wait, live YouTube business news? Okay, I guess. Hold up, I'm trying to see, they switched up everything on my broker and I'm gonna have to preload all this stuff again. So hold up, let me go over here to my phone. That's what I love about this broker. I can actually check it out and get everything rocking and rolling from the phone. Let's see. Roll up. Okay, here we go. ETC. Okay, there we go. But what I didn't do, yeah, they changed it up, guys. I didn't add it to the watch list. They changed it up. but that's okay. All right. Boom, just like that. Boom. Now I done added it to the watch list. Bitcoin. I was thinking maybe Bitcoin would have positive news to the $550 billion deal, but it didn't. This is best. Honestly, my sub, what I need. What's up, Mr. Belingo? Appreciate you for joining me. I'm just seeing my broker updated a lot of things, and I have to make my watch list all over again, but I'll do that later. Let's get to the meat and potatoes of this live. Guess what, guys? Trump secured a $550 deal with Japan, largest trade deal in history. So let's go over there to that. Let me get over here. A lot of things updated. So I got to switch it back to the news at hand. And let's go.
We also have Secretary Scott Bessent. He's over. Is Scott here someplace? I think so. Scott, thank you very much, Scott. We just came in from the Oval Office where a few people got to watch the negotiation.
Wait, hold up. All right, hold up. A little technical difficulties. All this has changed up. So, when you're used to a routine and then the routine changes, got to get used to it again.
See?
That's
Doug
what I'm
Burgum, I
going
think,
through
might
right
be
now.
here someplace. Doug, hi, bud, Doug. And I said to the Japanese trade representatives, and these were the top people, we concluded the one deal, Doug, and now we're going to conclude another one because they're forming a joint venture with us in Alaska, as you know, for the LNG. So I said we'll all do that together with Chris. Is Chris here? I don't know. Chris, right? If you could set that up, Doug, it would be great. But they're all set to make that deal now, so I think it's good. This was really the one they had to make, and we're going to make a deal with Japan on the LNG in Alaska, right? Okay, thank you very much. And Howard Lutnick, who was terrific. He was terrific. Howard, he'll never go back into private industry again because he's seen numbers that are so big. This deal is, they say, the biggest deal ever made. And we have Europe coming in tomorrow, and the next day. We have some other ones coming in. We're doing things that have never been done in this country before.
That's why it's good to have
very rich again, and that's the way it should be. They're not taking advantage of us.
So I'm good.
And it's very good. But Howard will never go back into private. He had a big company, but the biggest deal you've ever made is like a quarter of a line of the deal we just left, right? So it's a little tough. Scott Turner is here, who's terrific. Scott, thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you, Scott. Good job. Good job, Scott. Thank you very much. In fact, Scott, come here. Come here. I'm going to have Scott say grace. Give a little prayer, yes? I hope the television stays on. They have a tendency to turn off, but I think that's good. What do you think, Brian? Yes? Come on, Scott. And nobody does it like this man. He's better at this than he is at housing, but he's good at housing. That's great, Scott.
Somebody been messing with my computer.
How are you, sir?
I'm good.
Good.
Thank you very much.
Hi, everyone. Thank you, Mr. President. We're so grateful for you. Grateful for your sacrifice and for your heart for people, your heart for this country, your heart to do what's right no matter what.
Thank you, Scott.
And I'm so grateful that the Lord called us to be together for such a time as this. And so I really appreciate you. And I know I can speak for everyone out here that you are a tremendous leader. And we thank God for you. And we thank God for the First Lady.
Thank you.
And your family and everything that you've gone through for this country. And we're proud to stand with you.
Thank you, Scott. Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, let's pray. Father in heaven, we thank you. We're so grateful that we have this time to stand in your presence. Father God, we are at the White House. Father God, the most powerful place in the land. And Father, we thank you that President Trump allows us to take this time and go before the throne of heaven and give you reverence. You are the King of Kings and the Lord of Lords, and Jesus, we thank you. We thank you that you love us so much. God, we thank you for this awesome privilege to serve the people of the United States of America. Father, the Bible says, blessed is the nation whose God is the Lord. And Father, we put you on your rightful place tonight on the thrones of our heart. And Father God, on the throne of this country. Father God, we humble ourselves before you tonight, and we thank you for your goodness, for your mercy, for your grace. Father, we pray for those precious people in Central Texas, Father God, that have lost loved ones, who have lost children, who have lost family members. Thank you, God, for those on the ground who are working hard to, Father God, to help those to be recovered and rescued and restored. And Father, we pray in the days ahead, it's going to get real dark, but Father, we know that you're a light in the midst of darkness. Lord, thank you for the people of Texas, that they are so resilient. And God, we thank you that you are so faithful in the midst of the storm. Now, Father, tonight we thank you for every congressional member, their staff, their families, their spouses. Lord, thank you for giving us favor to pass this one big, beautiful bill and what it does for the people of this great country, not just for now, but for the posterity of our nation. And Lord, tonight, may you be glorified in our time together. And Lord, I pray that you will bless our president. God, everything he puts his hands to, we pray you will bless it. Strengthen him. Father, give him wisdom like never before. Open his eyes to see like he's never seen, and his ears to hear your sweet, small voice in the midnight hour. Lord, let him know that it is well with his soul. In Jesus' name, amen.
That's beautiful. Thank you, Scott. That's beautiful. Thank you very much. So nice. So we also want to thank Linda McMahon, who's right now, where are you, Linda? She's out negotiating with a lot of different people. What a great.
What's up, Remy? Hey, how you doing? Mike Smith, where's the files? Right, we want to know where the files at.
In the last year and a half or 2 years. $5 billion they got. Linda said, you know, you're not going to be happy. What? Harvard's getting billions and billions of dollars, and they're not spending it nicely, and they're very discriminatory and lots of other things. And she's got a tough judge. She's got a judge that would typically not be with us, but I don't want to say that because you never know what happens. But we'll win that case ultimately. We're going to win it. No decision made yet, but she's in the middle of a lot of things. But Linda, you have been unbelievable. Thank you very much. Great job you've done. And I said hello to Chris Wright. Chris is the most talented person. Doug actually said that I offered Doug Department of Energy notice. He said, I have somebody better. He's never said that in his whole life about anybody, Mary. He's never said that about anybody, but he said Chris Wright is so incredible, and he has turned. He's the #1 guy in the oil industry, and he left for, I won't even tell you the money he was making. It was crazy money, but he knew that, and he wanted this, and he and Doug have done an incredible job, and thank you, Chris, very much. And Doug Collins, where's Doug Collins? Doug Collins, what a great guy he's been. What a great guy. At the VA right now, you have a 92% approval rating. That's not bad. Let's see if you can get it up a little bit. Who are the 8%, right? but he's working on it. He is working on it. He's incredible. What a job. Thank you, Doug. What a great job you're doing. Appreciate it. As well as EPA Administrator Lee Zeldin. Where's Lee? This guy. People don't know. He was a great lawyer, like top of the line, and then he became a congressman in a race that he had no chance to win. He won, and was a congressman like for 6 years or something, and was highly respected. And then he took a shot at running for governor of New York, even though people said it was almost impossible to even think about, and he almost won. He came so close, almost won. And I appointed him as the environmental czar. She's our environment czar. And what a job, secretary on the cabinet. He's got everything. And the job he's been doing is incredible because we have $16 trillion so far invested in our country. We've never had anything even close. And this is just really in the last 4 months, not 6 months. That's when we started accepting things and getting things going and getting them rock and rolling. And
all this money that's coming in, guys, all this money that's coming into the U.S. The thing is, when will we get a dividend? Remember, guys, when they was talking about the dividend checks? All this money that's coming in. Will we get a dividend? Not a stimulus check, a dividend check.
He's got an incredible staff, and we appreciate the job he's done. He's an unbelievable guy. OMB Director Russ Vought. Nobody knows the finances of this country. And the waste, fraud, and abuse better than Russell. So, Russell, I want to thank you for doing such a great job. You're really in there fighting and really was a big help during this whole situation that we had, Tom, right, with Russ, when we had to know the numbers. There's nobody that knows him better. He lives with him. Director of National Intelligence. Oh, where's Tulsi? She's like hotter than everybody. She's the hottest one in the room right now because she found out with certainty. I think we knew it before, in all fairness, Tulsi, but now you have certainty. She has all the documents. She has everything that you need. And she found out that Barack Hussein Obama led a group of people and they cheated in the elections, and they cheated without question. It's not even a question. Would you say there's even a little question there, Tulsi? She says no. And you found things that nobody thought we'd ever find. And very happy and very honored to have you with us. She's right now, by far, Speaker, she's hotter than you right now, Speaker. She's the hottest person in the room right now, Speaker. So, Tulsi, great job. And I know you have a lot more coming. She told me you've seen nothing yet. So I heard those rumors about you, but now I know they're true. So we're very proud of you, Tulsi. They cheated so badly, and ultimately it led to a loss in 2020, and it shouldn't have been a loss. It was a big victory. We won by a lot. We had to do it again. But if I thought we lost, I would never have run again. And this is a far more consequential election than it would have been if we did. That's the only thing I can say in favor of it. But we can't ever let that happen again to our country. Look at what happened in terms of inflation, in terms of so many things, but most importantly, maybe in terms of allowing millions and millions of people into our country that we shouldn't have. We shouldn't have these people in our country, and the levels of violence and things that we're seeing are so bad, and we're getting them out, and Tom Homan and Christie have done an incredible job, and but we're getting them out. But this should have never happened. It was like just a terrible, unforced error. The only thing that I can't figure out, I always like to figure the other side. Why would they do this? Why would they allow people to come into our country from all over the world, not just South America, but from Venezuela, but from all over the world they came, and they came by hundreds of thousands, in some cases hundreds of thousands a day. When you look at some of these, they break down gates. We built hundreds of miles of wall. They didn't break down the wall, but anything that wasn't a wall, they were able to break it down. And they came in, though, by the millions. And we're going to be paying a price for this, and we are paying a price. It's all consuming. And we have to get 11,888 murderers, many of them murdered more than one person. And they're in here, and some are already gone. We've gotten them out. Some we can't get out. We want to put them in jails because we're afraid they'll come back. They're so violent. And they used to say, no, no, these are illegal.
Mike Lopez, what would happen to the 40 acres and the mule? Give the people what you promised them. You have a bag of, you can afford to give the people the money. Give Mike Lopez, it was 40 acres. No, it wasn't, Mike. Yeah, they're securing all this money. You know, we need to start asking about dividends off all this money that they are securing. Will they give dividends? 40 acres and a mule, that's not happening.
SBA Administrator Kelly Loeffler, a cabinet member, and a great person. Hi, Kelly. And she has done a job. You know, I always say small business. I used to say it with somebody else that happened to be, Linda, you happened to be there. I said, it's small business, but it's actually the biggest business there is, right? Probably there is. When you add it up, all those little small loans, you add them up, it's the biggest bank there is. But Kelly, you're doing a fantastic job. Thank you very much. Don't do a better job than Linda. That would be terrible. Linda had the job before you. She was so great. But don't beat her, because Linda would be very upset about that. Actually, she'd be happy. I think you'd be happy about it, right, Linda? That's the way Linda is. I want to also express our gratitude to all of the wonderful friends, and mostly spouses, but the wonderful friends that we have here. This is sort of just a great period of time for the country, and it's a great period of time for the Republican Party. I also want to wish Congresswoman, a truly beautiful woman, Mary Miller, and her husband, her handsome husband. This is like I'd like to use them on the front page of an advertisement for people that come to a hotel or something, but they're like I think they're a perfect couple. Mary Miller, I'd like to thank you and wish you a
Jammer, I got my mule. He's standing outside. Y'all know we got to go through this little talk that Trump does for about 15, 30-minute rant before he really gets to the meat and potatoes. But once he gets to the meat and potatoes, we got to pay attention to what he's saying. Appreciate y'all for joining me. I'm your host, the one and only Stock Sniper.
happy anniversary, Robert. Happy birthday. Happy birthday. So we have an anniversary, we have a birthday today. Anybody else having a birthday or anything? Robert, great job you're doing. Thank you very much. We appreciate it very much. Time and time again, the House Republican majority has defied the odds to deliver win after win for the American people. They were giving us very small odds of doing this bill. In fact, we were originally breaking it up into 7, and then 6, and then about 3 and 2, and then ultimately we said 1, and I had it a little different name. I had one great, big, beautiful bill. But Steve said that's too much. That's a little too much. Let's take the word great out. But it is great. It was a little tougher to say, a little too long, but we took the word great out. But it is really one incredible situation that we passed. And people said that we'll do a number of bills and it'll be much easier. Typically, that's the way, except the problem was you had some where...
Hello, Dollar, how you doing? Appreciate you for joining me. Dollar bill, y'all.
The beauty is that it had something in it and a lot for everyone, including the people in this room that had a vote. So I think it was an incredible decision that we made pretty early on, right? We had a lot of people that were skeptical, Mike, about doing the 1. They said it's just not possible to get it passed. And I think it actually turned out to be the biggest advantage because everybody had something in it. No matter who you were, you could go back and say, look what we got. Oh, well, that's okay. So it really worked out well. You passed the Lake and Riley Act. You passed the Halt Fentanyl Act. That's big stuff. You know, we are tariffing countries that are sending us fentanyl and working with fentanyl. And sadly, we're taking in billions and billions of dollars, but we don't want to take in billions for that. We want them to stop, and they will. With the help of our great First Lady, you passed the Take It Down Act. That's a big thing. And it was a bipartisan. That was very bipartisan. I think I'll ask her to get involved in more. Actually, it was like a real bipartisan, not where you had two. But you had a lot of Democrats vote for that one. That's a beautiful thing. The horrible things that take place on the internet, and they destroy children, and children do bad things to themselves, including, you know what, the word is suicide. And it really broke her heart to see it so often, so much. And take it down. We take it off the internet. They do things that are so bad. And it was a great thing that you did, bipartisan. On July 3rd, you passed the One Big Beautiful bill, and that's going to go down, I think, as one of the most monumental achievements ever in congressional history. In one historic package, we delivered the largest tax cut in American history, the largest spending cut in American history, and the largest border security investment in American history. And we got no tax on tips. Think of it, no tax on Social Security. We have no tax on overtime. It's just been, there's never been anything like it. And when you explain it, you know, because the Democrats are out there saying death. That's all they're given you know, the word manufactured. They manufactured. The word they use is death. That's the only thing they're good at. That's the only thing. So they have death.
That, bro.
And when we get out and sell, it's the opposite. It gives us life. It gives the country life. It gives, you could look at Medicaid, Medicare, Social Security. It gives it life. It means it's going to be here. They're going to be here. They wouldn't be here. I don't think we'd have a country. You want to know the truth? If we didn't win this election, I don't think we'd even have a country. But we've achieved more in 6 months than the most administrations have achieved during their 4 years or even 8 years. We've achieved more in 6 months than most administrations have achieved, whether it's 4 years or 8 years, which is pretty incredible. And when I was in Saudi Arabia, we took back $5.1 trillion. We went to Qatar, we went to Saudi Arabia, and UAE. Great leaders, all three, and great. They were great. And they invested, when I say took it back, I mean took it back in terms of an investment in the country, $5.1 trillion, with a T, trillion dollars. And the King of Saudi Arabia looked at me, he says, you know what? 1 year ago, America was dead. Your country was dead. He said, and now you have the hottest country anywhere in the world. That's a big statement, and that was 2 months ago. But he said, you went from a dead country, which is pretty hard to hear that, but it's true. I mean, think of it. We had a dead country. We had an embarrassment. All over the world, they were laughing at us like we were a bunch of fools. We had a dead country. Now we have the hottest country anywhere in the world. There's no country even close to being as hot. And those great representatives of Japan that a few of you, including the speaker, got to see in action, smart and sharp. And they said the same thing. They said, look, you have the hottest country in the world. So since I took office, the NASDAQ and the S&P 500, and they just did it again today, have set more than a dozen record highs. Core inflation is way down, below 2%. Think of that. And gas prices are the lowest they've been in many, many years. You know, it's interesting. I watch the Democrats, and they get on these shows. Well, prices are up. Energy is up. Gasoline is through the roof. Food and groceries are up. They lie. One guy even said eggs are up, and we reduced it by about 5 times. Think of it. Eggs, because when I first got here, the first week, they hit me. The fake news back there, they hit me. First week, they're screaming at me, eggs are through the roof. What are you going to do? I said, this isn't my problem. This was, Biden did this, not Trump. But they were screaming at me. I said, just give me a chance. And I will say our Secretary of Agriculture, Brooke, did a great job. Brooke Rollins, she did a great job. She's here too. Thank you, Brooke. But think of what we've done. So prices are all down. I don't think there's any price other than we have a real terrible head of the Fed. And if he brought down interest, you know, in Europe, the European Union, they've lowered their interest rate now 11 times. And we haven't lowered ours at all. He's a stiff. He's a knucklehead. And I was very nice to him.
I got a question for the chat. Listen up, chat. Anybody in this chat, are you witnessing lower gas prices in your area? My gas prices in my area are the same. In your area, are you seeing lower gas prices?
He did lower the rate before the election 2 or 3 times. It's the only time he's really acted like that. But no, he's a bad job. And he's hurting people. He's hurting people that can't get houses because they don't have mortgages. And I don't know if he knows it or not. He's either evil or stupid, and either is really not acceptable. But he's not doing a good job. And but he's only going to be there for a short while. Not going to be there much longer. Our deregulation efforts are saving the typical family thousands and thousands of dollars. So remember, when you're campaigning, got to remember this. Prices are down, groceries are down, oil is down, energy is down, gasoline is, wow. We hit $1.99 a gallon today in 5 different states. You know, in California, he keeps adding taxes, you know, when you go to $7, $8, but I mean, they just keep putting taxes on gasoline. It's crazy. I think you ought to take a look at that, Doug. It's ridiculous what he's doing out there. And he's really hurting people a lot. But we have, in free market, we have gasoline that's getting down to the low 2s, and in some cases even breaking that. I think you're going to end up breaking it if Doug does his job with Chris. You're going to be so drill, baby, drill, right, Doug? That's Doug. He really took that theme to heart. He's going wild, actually. And we'll fill up the strategic reserves. You know, they use these are massive cavities in Earth that you wouldn't believe how big, and they took the oil out that we put in. We put in a lot at good prices, and they took it out before the election. And it didn't really amount to that much for cars. You know, it didn't last that long, actually, because that's as big as those cavities. We call them cavities, are caves. They're incredible salt. They're salt mines, and they have almost an unlimited capacity, but it is limited. And they were just about filled up to the top. And for the election, they started emptying it. It wasn't meant for that. It really meant for a military emergency. It wasn't meant to keep prices down so that somebody can win an election, but obviously that didn't work. And the blue-collar workers have already seen their largest real wage increase in 60 years, another thing you can say. But the biggest thing you can say, and I told Mike today, I said, Mike, there's one thing where I don't believe we can lose. So at the end of my first term, I was so proud of myself because I worked very hard. In pharmaceuticals, drug prices went down for the first time in 28 years. Think of that. First time in 28 years they went down. You know what they went down? 1/4 of 1 point. Little much. The line was almost straight. It was like key, but it went down. First time in many years. 28, I think. And I was so proud, I called a news conference to announce that drug prices have gone down for the first time in many years. And I thought it was great, but then I did something much better. And this is what you have to run on. I have a friend who has a serious weight problem. Serious. He's brilliant, but extremely heavy. I'm being nice. And he takes Ozempic, or as they call it, the fat drug. And he's a brilliant guy. He's rich, tough, highly neurotic. He's a mess. He's a total mess. But he is brilliant and rich. And he was in London, and he calls me like, President. He always used to call me Donnie. Now he calls me President. That's good. I like that better. He goes, President, what's going on? I just bought the Ozempic for $88. And in New York, I pay $1,300. Same factory, same company that makes it, same everything. $88 to $1,300. He said almost $1,300. And I explained to him that that's the way it's been for many, many years, where people actually go to Europe in order to buy drugs. When they come back, they'll load it up. In fact, sometimes they get arrested for having so much they think they're drug addicts. They just buy months of supply because it's sometimes 1/10, 1/8, 1/5, 1/2. It's a tremendous difference. And this is for the people in this room, because this is something that nobody else can do. We're going to get the drug prices down, not 30 or 40%, which would be great, not 50 or 60. No, we're going to get them down 1,000%, 600%, 500%, 1,500%, numbers that are not even thought to be achievable, because I've used a certain talent that I have and convince the drug companies that you have no choice. The drug companies were selling drugs, same company, in Europe and other places, based on what Europe told them to sell them at. And they said, let America pick up the difference, and I wouldn't let it happen. I wouldn't let it happen. So I invoked what's called a favored nations provision, so that we will pay the same price as the lowest nation anywhere in the world. And drugs will come down, like from, as an example, $1,300 in the case I gave you. They'll come down from $1,300. Now, in the world, they'll go up a little bit, not as much as you think, because the world is bigger than the United States in terms of population, as you probably know. But it will go up, and maybe it'll go up instead of $88 or $90, it will go up to $110 or $120 or $140. But we're going to come down to $140. So you're going to have it coming down from $1,300 to $140, $150, $160. What difference? I mean, somewhere big. And it'll be, you know, serious. It'll be numbers that nobody can even imagine. That's going to have a huge impact on Medicaid, Medicare, even Social Security. It's going to have a huge impact on everything. So I just want you to know that that's one of the things that you have, and they'll never be able to take it away from you. You know, when I said no tax on tips, Kamala got just killed. We won Nevada by a lot. You know, they have 99.9% of the people work in hotels, right? I said, no tax on tips. And a month later, she said, and there will be no tax on tips. And they got booed out of the room because they knew that was our issue. So they'll try and pick up on this issue. They can't because we did it, but they'll try anyway, because they do lie terribly. We will have reduced drug prices by 1,000%, by 1,100, 1,200, 1,300, 1,400, 700, 600. Not 30 or 40 or 50%, but numbers the likes of which you've never even dreamed of before. And we're working very hard right now to get the other countries to lift up their prices a little bit, and to get the drug companies to put it to them. And if they don't, the drug companies will have a lot of problems, and they are mostly agreed to it. And if the countries don't, then as an example, if it's Europe, I'll say, that's okay. You're no longer allowed to sell cars in America. You're no longer allowed to have Mercedes, BMW, Volkswagen, or any of the other many cars. And they will say, oh, I love the idea of lower drug prices for America. So you have to use that. You have to use that, because it's, I mean, I can't think of anything that could be more powerful than that, okay? And there's nothing more powerful than that, and we can't forget about it. I said, one thing I said to the speaker today, I said, the one thing I'm going to bring up tonight, because we have so many of the congressmen and women in the room, but the one thing I'm going to bring up is what we did with, we call it favored nations, but so we're going to have the lowest drug prices anywhere in the world. We'll be tied for the lowest drug price, essentially, anywhere in the world. And you can win your election. I don't care where you come from. That helps everybody. There's no other point, I think, that can, what do you think, Mary? Do you agree? Okay, I agree too, Mary. You better agree, Mary, if you didn't agree. If you didn't agree. But no, it's an amazing thing. And nobody thought that was even possible. So we've negotiated historic trade deals with the United Kingdom, Indonesia.
She better agree, because guess what? If she don't agree with him, she gonna be out of there. What's up, everybody? Appreciate y'all for joining me. I'm your host, the one and only Stock Sniper. If she don't agree, she's gonna be out of there.
Indonesia, China, today Japan, and the Philippines. We just did the Philippines today also. A good deal. We have stopped wars between India and Pakistan, the Democratic Republic of the Congo and Rwanda. That was going on for 30 years. And by the way, India, Pakistan was probably going to end up in a nuclear war if they kept, you know, they shut down 5 planes in the last attack. And it was back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And I called them and I said, listen, no more trade. If you do this, you're not going to be good. But they're both powerful nuclear nations. And that would have happened. And who knows where that would have ended up. And I stopped it. Iran, you saw, we took out their entire capability of nuclear. Kosovo and Serbia, we stopped that. and a couple of others that we didn't stop a war, but we stopped what probably could have ended up in a war. And we do that on the House. It's compliments of America, okay? Do you think Biden would do that? I don't think so. Do you think he ever heard of any of those countries? I don't think so. I was sitting there screaming back and forth with Japan, and somebody said, can you imagine Biden doing this? I don't think so. There would be no negotiation. We'd just be...
What's up, Obvious? How you doing?
Friend and foe. And you know what? The friend has been worse in many cases than the foe, but ripped off on trade and other things. And I'm very proud to tell you that with NATO, the European...
Yeah, Kyle, man, I'm extra loud. It's called energy. I'm up early this morning. I got energy.
Where they're going to distribute it, which is going to be to Ukraine or whatever, but they're buying it, so we're not going to have the expense of giving away. Biden gave away $350 billion worth of equipment, or cash. Worse than equipment, cash. So we want to find out about that someday, I guess, right? But they were supposed to buy their own equipment, but I have a feeling they didn't spend every dollar on the equipment. But they are brave. Look, they're fighting a hard fight, and we're no longer going to do that. Our great companies, we make the best military equipment in the world, and our great companies are going to be selling now, and they'll be using it. So even those people that don't want to be in the war, and I'm one of them, but even those people are saying, wow, that's pretty good. That's pretty good. So they'll be able to defend themselves, and we will no longer be paying for it. And I think that's a very big thing. So we've achieved incredible things in a very short period of time. And in polling released just last week, it was announced that the approval for congressional Democrats under Hakeem Jeffries has reached the lowest ever recorded, 19%. And Republicans are doing well. And I have the best numbers I've ever had. You know, it's amazing. I watch people on television. Well, what about Donald Trump's polling numbers? Yeah, they're the best numbers I've ever had. And with this made-up hoax that they're talking about, my numbers have gone up 4 and 5 points. They want to do anything to get us off the subject of making America great again. And we're not going to put up with it. And remember, don't let them forget, it's so important, Obama cheated on the election. Look, the camera just went off. Obama, the red light just went off. Can you believe these people, how bad they are?
Oh,
Obama
man.
Cheated. When they give you all the nonsense, Obama cheated, and his people cheated, but he was there. You ever hear this? They talk about, if they ever even mention it, they never mention his name. Just the opposite with me. But they only mention my name. They don't mention any of you guys. They don't mention Tom. They don't mention Steve. They don't mention our great speaker. They mention Trump all the time. I'd like to have them mention you. But remember this, Obama cheated on the election. And we have it cold, hard, blue, and it's getting even more so because the stuff that's coming in is not even believable. So, and you should mention that every time they give you a question that's not appropriate. Just say, oh, by the way, Obama cheated on the election. You'll watch the camera turn off instantly. But I want to thank all of you again, once again. This is an incredible job. It's incredible people, really incredible people. And, you know, it's very interesting. I got to know so many of you over the last 6 months, really. But so many of you, some I didn't know. But you have tremendous talent in the office. Some I spoke to too much. And I particularly like the ones I didn't have to speak to at all, Mary. I didn't have to call Mary. But in particular, but I like them all. Look, in the end, we got there. We got the vote of almost all. A couple of people that will never vote, no matter what. You know, they think it's so cool not to vote. They have no suggestions. They have no ideas. They have no nothing. They just want to vote no. I don't know why. They're not doing very well on the polls right now, by the way, I'll tell you right now. But I want to just, if I could for a second, because he really deserves it, is truly a spectacular person, spectacular man. I'd like to ask the Speaker, Mike Johnson, to come up and say a few words.
Mr. President, I'm not going to speak long. These guys hear me talk all the time, okay? I just want to say that we have been making history together, and we're making history because you are the visionary, bold, strong leader that America needed. The American people recognize that. They gave us a mandate, and we're delivering on it. The exciting thing about the big, beautiful bill is America First is no longer just an agenda. It is now the law of the land, my friends. I could go by and name person by person, and I should name their spouses as well. All the members in this room, everybody deserves the credit. They underestimated us all the time, every day, because our margin is so small. But we do not accept that as our fate. We work together. This was prayer and patience and preparation and teamwork that got it done. We began this about a year and a half before that bill was delivered. The deliberate work down in the trenches. I could name the chairman of all of our committees, 11 committees of jurisdiction that worked on the big, beautiful bill. All the members in here who contributed their ideas, their thoughts, their expertise. They gave their heart and soul to it, Mr. President, because they wanted to deliver for you and deliver for the people, and we did it together. And I'm telling you, this is landmark stuff. There's not anything bigger I think we may ever work on, ever, in this legislative arena, because it may not even be possible, but we did it. And I'm so grateful and I'm so thankful and humbled to work with this group. Mr. President, they are committed to the country as you are. You are the strong leader, the example for us. With your stamina, we know we can never sleep, okay? We've got much more to do to deliver for the people, and we're going to do it. We thank you for the opportunity. Thank you for the celebration. Everybody here deserves it. God bless.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Tom.
All right, guys, I appreciate y'all for coming in. Hold on a second. All right, what's up, Professor Oaks, Proof Oaks? I see you in here all the time, bro, just about every single day. What I'm finna start doing, guys, is the people that I see in here a lot, I'm gonna start giving y'all a blue wrench. Not to block nobody, but the people that come here every single day, I have to see them. You know, I gotta let them stand out in front of everybody else, because you come over here every single day, you subscribe to the channel, you come kick it with me all the time. You give your insight on what you think about what's going on, and I appreciate y'all. So the people that I see in here all the time, I'm going to start giving out blue wrenches. So let's go. Let's keep it going.
Well, thank you very much, everybody. It's a great honor to have President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. of the Philippines, a great family legacy, and highly respected in this country. I know that because I have many friends in the Philippines, and there's great respect, or I couldn't say it, so congratulations. We're going to be talking about trade. We're going to be talking about war and peace. They're a very important nation militarily, and we've had some great drills lately. We're back with them. I think I can say that the last administration was not getting along with them too well. They didn't get along with anybody. They didn't know. Honestly, they didn't know what they were doing. But we have some fantastic military relationships with the Philippines, and that's been reinstituted. And Pete, I would say that you couldn't be happier, right, with the relationship. So I just want to say it's an honor to have you. We're going to talk about trade today, and we're very close to finishing a trade deal, big trade deal actually. And we do a lot of business with you. It's a lot of income coming in for both groups. But I was surprised to see the kind of numbers. They're very big, and they're going to get bigger under what we're doing and what we're proposing. And I just want to thank you for being with us. It's a great honor. You and your representative. It's really a great honor. We have a big announcement. AstraZeneca, the big drug company, is going to spend $50 billion. Just announced $50 billion in the United States in order to build various places all over the country, big manufacturing plants pharmaceutical plants all over the country, so that's an honor. And he said they did that because of the election and because of the fact that the tariffs are placed. So they're building their facilities in New York. $50 billion, that's a big investment. And it's going to be a very good investment. I have no doubt about it. So thank you to AstraZeneca. And with that, I'd like to have you say a few words, please.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. Of course, we're all very happy to be here to once again reaffirm the very strong ties between the Philippines and the United States, ties that go back over 100 years. And considering the context in which we live these days, especially in my part of the world, this has evolved into as important a relationship as is possible to have. We must remember that the United States is our only treaty partner in the Philippines, and that has stood us in good stead over the years, certainly through the Second World War, and the cultural memory of all Filipinos, down to even the school children, is that our strongest, closest, most reliable ally has always been the United States. And that is something that we value, that we are grateful for, and that we will continue to foster as we go on. With the leadership of President Trump, I am very confident that we will be able to achieve that. I think it is worthwhile to remember that it was President Trump who, in his first term, characterized the relationship between the Philippines and the United States as ironclad. And that has been necessarily the case since that time that you made that statement, sir. And it is something that the Philippines will always hold close to its heart. Thank you once again, and we are honored, and it is our great pleasure to be here and to visit with the President of the United States. Thank you, sir.
It's my great honor. Any questions, please?
Mr. President?
Yeah, please go ahead. Go ahead.
Mr. President, do you think that Fed Chair Jerome Powell should resign?
No, I think he's doing a bad job, but he's going to be out pretty soon anyway. In eight months, he'll be out. But I call him too late. He's too late all the time. He should have lowered interest rates many times. Europe lowered their rate 10 times. We lowered ours none. And it's causing a problem for people that want to buy a home. Look, our economy is so strong now, we're blowing through everything. We're setting records. You know that. You see that. And whether it's the Philippines or anyone else, we're setting records at levels that nobody's ever seen before. But you know what? People aren't able to buy a house because this guy is a numbskull. He keeps the rates too high, and probably doing it for political reasons. The only time I remember him cutting rates, I mean, he cut the rates just before the election to try and help Kamala or whoever he was trying to help. He probably didn't know. And he's building a building. He's $2.7 billion. They have a $900 million overrun. What is that? And that was given by Biden. That was another Biden deal. And this guy's building this building that's severely overrun. And what does he need the building for? What does he need? He needs space for more people. So they did a big study the other day, and they called all of the great intellects and the great economists and all of the great everything. And it was 71, and only 2 got it right. Me and another gentleman that happens to be very smart. 69 people got it wrong, and the Fed got it wrong, more wrong than anybody. And you know, he has these think tanks, and they build buildings for people that think. And it's really not thinking. It's a little bit of combination of thinking, but it's something you sort of have or you don't have. They don't. The job he's done is just terrible. He ought to raise interest rates. You know, we should be at 1%. We should be leading the world. Instead, we're paying 4%. And if you look at what that means, that's over $1 trillion in interest that we have to pay. That with the striking of a pen, we would be saving more than $1 trillion. Is that right, Scott?
Yes,
do you have anything to say about it?
Yes, sir. I called yesterday and this morning for the Fed to do a big internal investigation to understand not their monetary policy, but everything else. The Fed has had big mission creep, and that's where a lot of the spending's going. that's why they're building these new or refurbishing these buildings. And I think they got to stay in their lane. And I think that based on the way they cut rates last fall, they should be cutting rates now.
It's inconceivable, I know the Fed very well, that they can be spending $2.7 billion to build a building. They don't do anything. It's the greatest job. You show up one day, a half a day, you make a little speech, the economy's doing well, the economy's not doing well, we're going to raise interest. And he's got it wrong. That's why I call him too late, T-O-O, too late. And it's really too bad. But it is affecting people that want to buy houses, and that shouldn't happen.
And Mr. President,
he should lower them. Those rates should be 3 points lower. That's what they should be, 3 points lower, maybe more than that.
I would like to ask both for you,
Yes.
one person. Mr. President Marcos, next year, Philippines is going to be the rotating chair of ASEAN. I wonder how do you plan to balance your relationship between the United States and China? And for President Trump, Kremlin yesterday said if you are going to Beijing in September, they wouldn't rule out a meeting between you and President Putin. Is such a meeting possible? And how soon do you plan to visit China?
Well, we have a lot of meetings possible. President Xi has invited me to China, and we'll probably be doing that in the not too distant future, a little bit out, but not too distant. And I've been invited by a lot of people, and we'll make those decisions pretty soon. Please.
Well, as you say, we are chairing ASEAN for 2026. There is no need, in a sense, to balance, as you characterize as, to balance our relationship between the United States and China, simply because our foreign policy is an independent one, and we are essentially concerned with the defense of our territory and the exercise of our sovereign rights. Now, whether we do this not alone, we need to do this with our partners. And again, our strongest partner has always been the United States. But of course, we are trying to form coalitions and multilateral relations so that those like-minded nations who share the same values as we do, who hew to international law, most specifically the UNCLOS, present that position very clearly to anyone who has intentions of unilaterally changing the world order, and that is how we are guided in that.
And I don't mind if he gets along with China, because we're getting along with China very well. We have a very good relationship. In fact, the magnets, which is a little complex piece of material, but the magnets are coming out, very well. They're sending them in record numbers. We're getting along with China very well, and I don't mind if the president dealt with China. If that's meant, because I think he has to do what's right for his country. I've always said, make the Philippines great again. Do whatever you need to do, but you're dealing with China wouldn't bother me at all.
Well, it is something that we have to do in any case. Yeah. And certainly.
Mr. President, do you support the Justice Department seeking a new interview with Ghislaine Maxwell, and do you urge the Attorney General to see her?
I don't know anything about it. They're going to what? Meet her?
Your Deputy Attorney General has reached out to Ghislaine Maxwell's attorney asking for a new interview.
Yeah, I don't know about it, but I think it's something that sounds appropriate to do, yeah.
Do you have any concern that your Deputy Attorney General, as your former attorney, would be conducting the interview, given...
No, I have no concern. He's a very talented person. He's very smart. I didn't know that they were going to do it. I don't really follow that too much. It's sort of a witch hunt, just a continuation of the witch hunt. The witch hunt that you should be talking about is they caught President Obama absolutely cold, Tulsi Gabbard. What they did to this country in 2016, starting in 2016, but going up to 2020 in the election. They tried to rig the election, and they got caught. And there should be very severe consequences for that. When we caught Hillary Clinton, I said, you know what? Let's not go too far here. It's the ex-wife of a president, and I thought it was sort of terrible. And I let her off the hook, and I'm very happy I did. but it's time to start after what they did to me, and whether it's right or wrong, it's time to go after people. Obama's been caught directly. So people say, oh, you know, a group. It's not a group. It's Obama. His orders are on the paper. The papers are signed. The papers came right out of their office. They sent everything to be highly classified. Well, the highly classified's been released. And what they did in 2016 and in 2020 is very criminal. It's criminal at the highest level. So that's really the things you should be talking about. I know nothing about the other, but I think it's appropriate that they do go.
May I ask you about that, Mr. President? Yeah. Tulsi Gabbard has submitted a criminal referral to the Department of Justice. From your perspective, who should the DOJ target as part of their investigation? What specific figures in the Obama administration?
Well, based on what I read, and I read pretty much what you read, it would be President Obama. He started it. And Biden was there with him, and Comey was there, and Clapper. The whole group was there. Brennan, they were all there in a room. Right here, this was the room. This is much more beautiful than it was then, but that's okay. I have nice pictures up. They came out of the vaults. They were in there for 100 years. This is much more beautiful. We have the Declaration of Independence now in the room, which wasn't here. I guess people didn't feel too good about putting it here, but I do. But you know what? If you look at those papers, they have them stone cold, and it was President Obama. It wasn't lots of people all over the place. It was them too. But the leader of the gang was President Obama, Barack Hussein Obama. Have you heard of him? And except for the fact that he gets shielded by the press for his entire life, that's the one they look. He's guilty. It's not a question. You know, I like to say, let's give it time. It's there. He's guilty. This was treason. This was every word you can think of. They tried to steal the election. They tried to obfuscate the election. They did things that nobody's ever even imagined, even in other countries. You've seen some pretty rough countries. This man has seen some pretty rough countries, but you've never seen anything like it. And we have all of the documents. And from what Tulsi told me, she's got thousands of additional documents coming. So President Obama, it was his concept, his idea, but he also got it from crooked Hillary Clinton. Crooked is a $3 bill. Hillary Clinton and her group, the Democrats, spent $12 million to Christopher Steele to write up a report that was a total fake report. Took 2 years to figure that out, but it came out that it was a total fake report. It was made up fiction. And they used that. Now, the one thing they weren't able to do was to, and probably the only thing I respect about the press in years is the press refused to write it before the election. They refused to put it in. The Steele report was a disaster. All lies, all fabrication, all admitted, and admitted fraud. She paid $12 million, and the Democrats, for that report to a wise guy named Christopher Steele. He wrote a phony report, and they wanted to get that report in before the election. And I'll tell you what, I talk about all the time, the fake news, how bad it is. But in this case, they wouldn't do it. They saw it, they read it, and they said, we don't believe it. And it was only after, substantially, like a month and a half after the election, that it got printed, and it was a big wisp. It was just like a bang of nothing, because the election had ended. If that report had gotten published by the New York Times or somebody, and I respect the Times for maybe only this, because they're crooked as you can be. They're a terrible paper, a crooked, corrupt paper. A lot of money because they do things very badly. It's got a nice name, but it's really, in my opinion, it's a terrible paper, and it can be corrupt. But just so you know, they didn't take the Steele report.
Man, how you doing?
It was the dossier. Remember the famous dossier? I call it the fake news dossier. The news wouldn't publish it, and I'm amazed. They had 2.5 months. It was finished. 2.5 months. That was supposed to be what was going to happen. And it got published a couple of months after the election.
Good time. They love us divided. Yes, I agree with that. Good time. They love us divided. They don't want us together. They want us divided. Great comment, good time.
And frankly, nobody cared too much about it. But that was a big thing. No, we caught Hillary Clinton. We caught Barack Hussein Obama. They're the ones, and then you have many, many people under them. Susan Rice, they're all there. The names are all there. And I guess they figured they're going to put this in classified information and nobody will ever see it again, but it doesn't work that way. And it's the most unbelievable thing I think I've ever read. So you ought to take a look at that and stop talking about nonsense, because this is big stuff. Never has a thing like this happened in the history of our country. And by the way, it morphed into the 2020 race. And the 2020 race was rigged, and it was a rigged election. And because it was rigged, we have millions of people in our country. We had inflation.
I got a big question for the chat. Put a one inside of the chat if you believe that the election was rigged, like what he's talking about. Put a 1 in the chat if you think it was rigged. Put a 2 in the chat if you think it was not rigged.
We solved the inflation problem, but millions and millions of people came into our country because of that. And people that shouldn't have been, people from gangs and from jails and from mental institutions, people that we don't want in our country, and people that we're getting out, dangerous people. 11,888 murderers, many of them 50%, more than 50%, murdered more than one person. I hate to say this with such a distinguished guest, but you know, they asked me a question. I got to answer the question. No, Barack Hussein Obama is the ringleader. Hillary Clinton was right there with him, and so was Sleepy Joe Biden, and so were the rest of them. Comey, Clapper, the whole group. And they tried to rig an election, and they got caught. And then they did rig the election in 2020. And then because I knew I won that election by a lot, I did it a third time, and I won in a landslide. Every swing state won the popular vote. But I won that all the same way in 2020. And look at the damage that was caused.
How crucial is the ammunition hub that the U.S. plans to build in Subic and then the zone corridor, considering that these will be built in areas that hosts strategic ports as well as military air bases?
You're talking ammunition?
Yes, the U.S. House Congressional Committee on Appropriations approved a budget.
Well, it's very important. Otherwise, we wouldn't have approved it.
Sorry?
Yeah, it's very important. Otherwise, we wouldn't. We need ammunition. We're going to end up in a few months, we'll have more ammunition than any country has ever had. We're going to have more missiles than any country has ever had. We're going to have all the speedy missiles. We'll have the speedy ones, the slow ones, the accurate ones, the ones that are slightly less accurate. We have everything. But we will have more ammunition than any country has ever had. It's very important to me. Okay. Go ahead, please, Red.
Sir, when you say that you're close to making a trade deal, what gaps remain? And for President Marcos, sir, I was just wondering, do you not think that perhaps the Philippines hosting U.S. missile systems could be considered escalatory by China, especially because they can strike defensively by China? Thank you.
Well, it's an honor to be with this gentleman. You know, I've known him, and I've known his family, actually, but I've known him. And I assume you're from the Philippines? Are you from the Philippines?
Yes, sir.
That's good. You're very lucky to be from the Philippines, right? It's a great place. But we're going to have a very good relationship. I mean, I know you had some problems with another president, and it was not your fault. It was the president's fault. And the country was maybe tilting toward China, but we untilted it very, very quickly. But you know, you had a country that was tilting toward China for a period of time, and I just don't think that would have been good for you. You could deal with China, you should deal with China, but when I got elected, everything changed, and they came right back to us. Say it again? Yeah, Brian, go ahead.
Oh, Mr. President, I just wanted to piggyback off the
Sorry, I
House.
had a question to President Marcos.
Yes. I'm sorry, what was the question again?
It was about whether having U.S. missiles hosted in the Philippines could be considered escalatory by China.
all of the what we consider part of the modernization of the Philippine military is really as a response to the circumstances that surround the situation around the South China Sea, and now what we used to refer to as Asia Pacific, which we have expanded now to the Indo-Pacific. And if we would certainly, like in any kind of military spending, we would wish that it wasn't necessary, but it is. And so that is what we are doing. And as an adjunct to the question about the ammunition production, this is actually the United States is assisting the Philippines in what we call our self-reliance defense program, which is to allow us to be self-reliant and to be able to stand our own 2 feet, whatever the circumstances that occur in the future. And that the reason that we have encouraged more interaction with the United States is because it is necessary. And it is not just with the United States. It is with all our neighboring countries, and even countries as far afield as the Scandinavian countries, the EU. And so this is an ongoing process. And again, I will stress the point that we do this because we feel it is necessary.
And don't forget, just as tantamount to what you're asking, the Philippines were loaded up with ISIS and a lot of terrorists, and they were at very, very dangerous point. And during my administration, we went in and we wiped them out, working with the Philippines, but we wiped them out. But if we didn't go in, I don't know what would have happened. I don't know who would be your president right now. But we spent a lot of time and a lot of talent on going into the Philippines and wiping out terrorists. They had a tremendous problem during my administration, and we cleaned it up. We got them out, and now you really have a good, solid country again.
I believe so. Yes.
How can you make it
Mr. President, I want to follow up on a housing question.
Yeah.
We've got no tax on tips, no tax on overtime, no tax on Social Security. How important is it we have no tax on home sales, capital gains, to unleash the housing market in this country?
Well, we're thinking about that, but would also unleash it just by lowering the interest rates. If the Fed would lower the rates, we wouldn't even have to do that. But we are thinking about no tax on capital gains on houses. And I'm very impressed that you asked that question, because nobody knew that. How did you find that out? That's very...
I wonder why there's somebody...
Did y'all hear that? Y'all see that? No tax on capital gains if you sell a house.
There's a leaker. There's a leaker.
I've also got a question. I find it a very interesting world that we know more about two people at a Coldplay concert just hours after that viral video than we know of Thomas Crooks 1 year after attempting to assassinate you. What is holding back the investigation on Thomas Crooks?
Well, they've reported to me and they've told me things, and they really say they haven't found anything that was abnormal. I would say this: the Secret Service was very brave, because they were right there and they jumped on me. They made a mistake. They should have had somebody on that roof, and they should have had communication with the local police, who also, they did a very good job, but they made some mistakes, and we have a whole different group of people now. I don't think anything can happen, but I think we have.
The capital gains tax will help anybody that sells a house, bro. If you sell your house and they pass no taxes on capital gains, you won't have to pay taxes on the sale of that house. Come on now, think about it.
Have the best people anywhere in the world right now, and I think they've learned. And they went into him very, in great detail. They gave me the whole thing, and what can I do? They say that it was just a nut job that was looking to do this, and I spoke with the FBI, the new FBI. I spoke to the FBI. If it was the old FBI, I wouldn't have believed a thing they said, because the old FBI under Comey was crooked as hell. He was one of the most crooked. Everybody should read the Horowitz report. Unfortunately, Bill Barr didn't use it, but the Horowitz report, not appointed by me, it was a report on Comey and the FBI. It is one of the worst shots at a human being I think I've ever seen. In fact, the New York Times did an editorial that was one of the worst editorials I've ever seen about anybody. That was about Comey. You ought to go back and get, and Barr didn't use it because he didn't have the guts to use it, or something happened, I don't know. Too bad. He went to Mr. Durham. Instead of doing the Durham, all they had to use is the Horowitz report. And I always felt badly for Horowitz, frankly, because he's a Democrat, I guess. He was appointed by a Democrat. But that report has gotten lost, and it shouldn't be lost. You should all go back. It should be mandatory reading. Go back and read the Horowitz report on Comey and his cronies. And you'll see exactly, we're going to add that to all the stuff that we found. It just confirms it. But what we found is even more so. Now, we found absolute, this isn't like evidence, this is like proof, irrefutable proof that Obama was seditious, that Obama was trying to lead a coup. And it was with Hillary Clinton, with all these other people, but Obama headed it up. And, I get a kick when I hear everyone talks about people I never even heard of. It was just, no, it was Obama. He headed it up. And it says so right in the papers. Got everything. This is the biggest scandal in the history of our country. And it really goes on to even the auto pen, because it all relates to the same thing. It all started, the same sick minds. You have an auto pen, which is a tremendous, well, we don't have a president. We have an auto pen that signs everything. I'll bet you sign everything. You don't have auto pens. No, everybody. Who doesn't sign? You're the president of a country. But it's all that whole thing leading right up to the end of it is the auto pen. And the auto pen was used by people, and Biden knew nothing about it. They were signing documents that he knew nothing about. As an example, they released the Unselect Committee of Liability. The Unselect Committee spent 2 years grilling everybody, and then they destroyed all the evidence. You know why? Because the evidence made them guilty, and he gave them all a pardon. The Cheney, all the scum that was on the Unselect Committee, Cryan, Adam Kinzinger, and Democrats. And he gave them a pardon. Do you have something else? Go ahead.
I was just going to add one more thing on Adam Schiff. Director Pulte reports that Adam Schiff claims he lived in a one-bedroom apartment. Now, how does a family of four, you're a developer, a very successful developer, how does a family of four live in a one-bedroom apartment?
No, it looks like Adam Schiff really did a bad thing. They have him. Now, let's see what happens. It's not up to me. I stay out of it purposely. But it's mortgage loan fraud. It's a big deal. He defrauded banks and insurance companies and the federal government. But it's very simple. It's mortgage loan fraud. And you're right. It's a lot of people to live in a one-bedroom apartment, right? But he put it down. But he has a lot of other things far worse than that. So, no, Adam Schiff, they have him 100% on mortgage fraud. Now, if there's anybody else in this room except you would have no problem. But anybody else in this room, you'd have a problem. I'd have a problem. Yeah, please.
So there was a hearing yesterday in the Harvard case. Would you allow Harvard to get their federal dollars back as a part of any agreement with the administration?
No, I'm not giving. Harvard's been given $7 billion. Can you believe it? By the Fed, $7 billion. And we want money to go to all universities, not Harvard. Harvard got more than anybody else. They have $52 billion. They get huge tax incentives and tax breaks on that $52 billion. But they have $52 billion, and they got $7 billion over a short period of time. And we have a very hostile judge appointed by Barack Hussein Obama, a very, very hostile judge who knows exactly right from wrong, but we expect to win it on appeal. She hasn't given a decision yet, but she's very hostile, and she was put by Barack Hussein Obama. And generally speaking, anybody that does that, we're gonna have problems with. So we don't expect to have. We won the case yesterday. Anybody that was there, that was a neutral, would say we easily won the case. But a lot of the case, and a big part of it's going to be how much money Harvard gets in the future. That's not part of the case, and they're not going to get very much.
Mr. President, where are we in terms of negotiating about the reciprocal tariff? How far are we
with who?
With the Philippines? Yes, sir. How far
are you from the Philippines?
Yes, sir.
Good.
I'm from the Philippines. negotiations? How far are we from achieving?
Well, it's tough. He's a very tough negotiator. So far, we're not there because he's negotiating too tough. In fact, I used to like him better than I do now. He's too tough. But we'll probably agree to something. But he's strong, a strong negotiator. He loves your country.
Mr. President,
When are you calling for the Philippines, sir?
you talked a lot about the severe consequences that those who were involved in the Russia hoax must face. In your view, sir, what are the next steps now that these documents are out there in Tulsi Gabbard?
Well, the Justice Department would have to act. And we have a very competent, very good, very loyal to our country person in Pam Bondi, very respected. And it's going to be her decision.
Just a follow-up to that, sir. Kristi Noem was in New York City visiting an off-duty CBP officer who was allegedly shot this weekend by an illegal alien who came into the country during the previous administration.
Right.
What is your message to any local leaders who continue to push sanctuary city policies after this nearly tragic incident?
So the only thing I don't understand, because you like to understand things and we're all smart people and all, but why would they allow 21 million people into our country, unvetted, unchecked? You don't allow it. You wouldn't allow people then. He's tough. No, the country's run properly. Biden and his group of thugs, and I don't think it was Biden, I think it was the people that surrounded that beautiful Resolute desk right behind you. They allowed 21 million people, probably much more than that, and many of them came from jails and gangs and drug dealers and mental institutions, insane asylums. Many of them are very sick. 21 million, probably 25 million, probably even more than that. And we're getting them out. Many were murderers, as I said. They killed people. Many killed more than one person. Stone cold murderers. I don't understand why they would have allowed that. There's only two reasons: the vote. Because they want voters. That's one reason. I don't think they would have done it for that because they cheat. You know, they're so good at cheating, they don't need that. But the vote, and the second reason is they hate our country. I think they hate our country. I actually do. And it's the biggest problem. I mean, much of our time is spent with, you know, we have the strongest border anywhere in the world now. Maybe even stronger than your border, if you can believe it. We have no people came in last month, zero, which is pretty amazing. I'm not even sure I can believe that. But liberals are the ones that do that calculation. So, but we had no people come in. A year ago, we had hundreds of thousands of people come in. Hundreds of thousands of people. And they flowed in. And if it wasn't for the election, it would have been millions of people came in last year. So millions of people prior to election time, they allowed millions and millions of people to come into our, I mean, you saw it. They'd open the gates. If you took an Alabama LSU football game that holds 128,000 people, I was there, 128,000 people. And I liked them and they liked me. But if you took that and doubled it, that's what used to flow into our country on a daily basis. It's not even believable. And we're getting them out and we're...
Hello, Sharon. How you doing? Thank you for joining me.
Here in the throat. Probably won't be able to speak again. But he was brave and he shot the other guy. And they ended up getting him. And you saw the scene where his friend took him to a hospital and dumped him down on the sidewalk. The whole thing was crazy. But why would anybody do to our country what these Democrats have done? And honestly, we can never forget it. We can never forget it. What they have done, the damage that they've done to America is very, very sad. Thank you very much, everybody.
Well, that's it, guys. Wait, whoa, something else going on. Hold up.
Saw the video of what happened to Mr. McNeil. I was aghast. It was horrific for somebody who was simply exercising their Fourth Amendment rights to ask for a supervisor as to why he was being pulled over, and to see the video on multiple angles of him not resisting, his hands up, and for him to be punched in his face after breaking the glass, ripped out onto the floor or to the ground, and then beaten is atrocious anywhere in America.
Guys.
But Florida has a police brutality problem. It's had a police brutality problem for a long time. And so as a native of the state of Georgia, whose mother is from Jacksonville, I know far too well of the brutality here in Jacksonville. And so what we are calling for is justice. Yes. This is not a war on police. That's right. This is about justice and accountability for everyone. Amen. Amen. So to the sheriff, if you're truly about law and order, you need to turn the law and order on that officer that brutalized Mr. McNeil. Because let's be clear, in this country, nobody's above the law. Nobody can violate the Constitution and not have consequences. And so it's incumbent upon everyone to understand that this could have been us. This could have been me. This could have been you. And but for William's calm nature, his ability to de-escalate, his ability to remain calm. So I was talking in the back and somebody reminded me of some of the heroes.
This is my first time seeing
All right,
this,
so
guys.
unfortunately, that
Hold
live
up.
feed from Jacksonville.
Through. This is my first time seeing this.
Reality. You could talk about a knife bit in the car, but it was not a weapon because he did not weaponize it. He stayed calm. The only weapon that day was a Jacksonville sheriff office. The nation saw it. Everybody saw it. And we are here for redress and get justice
I can think
for the
of
McNeil
one
family.
person who can violate
nothing more, nothing less. William have a long road to recovery to go. I'm not going to get in his injuries. You see pictures and things online, but William attended Livingston College, band scholarship. His president is here today. So this narrative, they always have this narrative being, you know, he was a thug. Right. He was a criminal. Yeah. That's the narrative. Yes, sir. But William was doing everything. Come here, William. William was doing everything right. Everything. A college student on scholarship, doing what's required of him to be a better person. And all he did was exercise his fundamental rights, his God-given rights, to answer a simple question. Why are you stopping me? Yeah. For not having headlights on during the day? Did y'all see the video where the officers came with no headlights on? Yeah. No windshield wiping? No smoke? No fog? No rain? So anybody would be confused, why are you stopping me? Yes. And he exercised their right to answer that question, and they bullied him, intimidated him, broke his window, and beat him and caused permanent injuries. Look, I'm gonna step aside. We got a lot of folks up here to get a chance to speak. Here, we'll come back for a Q&A. We will have a
go
Q&A
find
with
this
William.
video, bro.
His parents is here. Solomon's, Latoya, and his stepfather Alton is here as well, wearing the red. Next, I'm gonna bring up my good friend, my colleague, Attorney Ben. We home, we in Florida, so I had to bring him home. Ben Crump, come on. Thank you, sir.
Thank you so very much, Attorney Harry Daniels. I'm honored to co-counsel with you and Attorney Keefe and all these great lawyers, Attorney Jackson and Attorney Robinson, because this is a very, very important case. As Attorney Daniels said, when William was stopped, there was no rhyme or reason, no rationale for them stopping him. I mean, this was a classic case of driving while black. And I applaud William.
I found it, guys. Let's see.
For keeping his demeanor, his
calmness. Bro.
I mean, Attorney Daniels, I thought the trained police officers were supposed to be the ones to de-escalate the matter. They were the ones escalating the matter while this young man represented the best of us. He kept calm. He was trying to de-escalate the matter. He just kept asking simply, why are you stopping me? I mean, think about that.
That's
I
cold.
understand the sheriff said anti-police.
I'm watching the video right now, guys. I'm gonna switch it over here in a second.
It's not anti-police when an American citizen asks, "Why are you stopping me?" That is an American citizen exercising his constitutional rights. That's what William was doing. He was exercising his constitutional rights. And Attorney Daniels and I seek to remind America that we are a democracy, that we believe in the Constitution, and that all American citizens have a right to the protections of the Constitution, that this is not a police state where the police are above the law and that they have no accountability.
Bro,
no,
you shouldn't
the
have did
last
that,
time
bro.
I checked,
Hold up.
America is still a democracy, and our citizens still have a right to the Constitution. It goes without saying that the leaders now have to step up and be leaders. Look at that video. Look at that video with your own eyes.
I found the video, guys. We about to watch it.
Yeah, Florida 24 Bravo Echo Charlie Whiskey on a silver Kia. I know how this.
Yes, sir.
Is there a reason why you're popping the door open like that?
I don't have a window that works. Is there a reason that you're pulling me over?
Yeah, absolutely. There's a reason why I'm pulling you over. For one thing, inclement weather, you don't have your lights on. Two things, you're not wearing your seatbelt.
It's daylight. I don't need the lights, and it's not weather. It's not raining.
Oh, this is inclement.
It's not raining.
Okay, I'm not arguing with you. I'm telling you why I'm pulling you over. Give me your driver's license, registration, proof of insurance.
No, call your supervisor. Why?
Excuse me?
Call your supervisor. Why did you pull me over?
77, 35. I'm fucking with the dog driver. I've already told you.
Why did you pull me over?
Step out of the vehicle.
No.
Step out of the vehicle.
Right there. Right there, guys. When he closed that door, that's when he messed up. This is when he messed up. When he closed that door. He was all right until he closed that door. I'm gonna just watch it again.
Why did you pull me over?
Step out of the vehicle.
No.
Step out of the vehicle.
He asked him to step out of the vehicle. No. He closed the door. That right there, he shouldn't have did this, guys.
25 seconds. For 94, the driver just slammed the door and locked it. Yep. 25 seconds. If anybody responding, come in from Commonwealth, block the vehicle, please.
The reason why he shouldn't have did that is because the cops don't know what he got in the car, if he got a gun, or if he gonna take off. When he did that, he messed up.
Keep your hands where I can see them, sir. My camera's on too. I've already told you. Okay. Okay. Right now you're under arrest for resisting. You understand? You're under arrest for resisting. The longer you take us on, the worse it's going to be. Keep your hands where I can see them, sir. Okay.
Guys, youngsters, when you get pulled over by the police, you have to make it as friendly as possible, bro. You can't get irritated. You can't get aggravated. Even if you think they are wrong. Even if you think they are wrong. You cannot get aggravated. You cannot show aggression. You cannot resist. You can't do it, bro. You can't do it.
Sir, this is your last warning to open the vehicle and exit before we're going to break the window. Open the door and exit or we are going to break the window. Open the door and exit or we are going to break the window.
Well, we're conducting a traffic stop right now. You need to comply.
No, he's under arrest.
Hey, I'll out the car. I'm gonna push it up.
Open the door and exit. You are under arrest for resisting. Open the door and exit. You are under arrest for resisting.
He should have just opened the door, bro. He should have just opened the door. He should have just opened the door.
Open the door and exit. You are under arrest for resisting. Open the door and exit. You are under arrest for resisting.
Can you unlock the door and step out? I will. Can you step out? You're being done. There's a traffic stop being conducted. You're required to comply.
Vehicle's blocked in.
Yes.
He's locked it up. Put the window down.
Correct.
I tried to talk to
Huh? Okay. So what did he ask for when he I guess, talked to you?
When he pulled me over, he walked up, opened my door because my window don't work, right? And then I said, so what I did wrong?
Yeah.
He said, well, for one, your headlights are off under this weather. I'm like, there's multiple people headlights off.
Okay, that's still
and then there's no rain.
It doesn't matter. You're still required to have headlights on.
Can you pull that law up?
Huh?
Can you pull that law up?
Yeah, when you step out of the car, I will.
Hey.
Can you call your supervisor?
Huh?
Can you call your supervisor?
All right, go for it.
Behavior, Bender. If bro was not actually violating the seatbelt or headlight laws, the validation of the stop could be challenged later in court, but not in the moment. Right. It's going to only get ugly.
Exit the vehicle now! Exit the vehicle!
When the cop hit him, okay, the cop punched him in the face, bro. Right there, the cop messed up. That cop hit him in the face. Right there, the cop is in violation. That cop was not supposed to hit him in the face. Now it just switched. Now the cop is acting out of emotion. That cop was not supposed to punch him, bro. He was not supposed to punch him.
Exit the vehicle now! Exit the vehicle!
When that cop punched him, lawsuit. Got him. That cop, yes, that cop assaulted him soon as he punched him. That cop got emotional. Right? When that cop hit him, that changed the whole scenario, guys. The cop punched him. That cop punched him. But youngsters, I'm going to tell y'all this, bro. If you get pulled over by the cops, don't get in your emotions. Let them do their job and fight them in court, like Behavior Bender said. But if you're a police officer, if you want to be a cop, you cannot, even though he was wrong, where the cop messed up at is when he punched him. When he punched him, that's when he messed up.
Show me your hands.
Here.
1033 at 16.1 hours.
What is your reason, sir? What is your reason? Step out now. All right.
No. Now they assaulting him. Bro, this shit is crazy. That boy got a lawsuit.
No.
cop right there hitting him too, bro.
Put your hands behind your back. Hands behind your back. What's wrong with you?
What you mean? I was putting my hands behind my back. I was on.
Ain't no talking now, man. Ain't no talking.
Bro, I was doing, bro. What's going on, man?
You're under arrest. That's what's going on.
No.
Yes, bro. Yes.
That's a lawful reason, bro. You look on the phone like that, bro?
Yeah, I'm gonna take it off of you, bro.
Yeah. And I'm just trying to have a regular conversation with y'all, bro.
That's not how it works.
When they asked me to step out of the vehicle, you should have done that shit. So your partner didn't even act.
Marijuana in his right pocket.
Yes, it is. So why close the door if you see him pull up? Because, man, what you mean? He talking about arresting me and stuff, bro. I didn't do nothing.
Don't resist, idiot.
I didn't do nothing wrong.
I don't know.
Can you back me up to the car so I can clean up? You was busting that shit, bro.
You start rescue. Kid 67, approximately 30-year-old Bravo Mike. Last race. I did. Thank you. I know. You should push the window. No. Yeah. Oh, yeah. What's your name? You good? Yeah, you or him? Oh, okay. We'll get rescue for you too, Lonnie.
Dang, bro. I gotta watch this again.
Echo Charlie Whiskey on a silver Kia. I don't know like this.
He got a case regardless because a cop's supposed to be mature enough because they are a person in power. The cops are supposed to be mature enough to handle this type of situation. So he got a lawsuit. Even though he resisted, that cop had no reason punching him in the face and they jumped him when he got out of the car. He got a lawsuit.
Yes, sir.
Is there a reason why you're popping the door open like that?
I don't have a window that works. Is there a reason that you're pulling me over?
Yeah, absolutely. There's a reason why I'm pulling you over. For one thing, inclement weather, you don't have your lights on. Two things, you're not wearing your seatbelt.
It's daylight. I don't need the lights. And it's not weather. It's not raining.
This is inclement.
It's not raining.
Okay, I'm not arguing with you. I'm telling you why I'm pulling you over. Give me your driver's license, registration, proof of insurance.
No, call your supervisor. Why?
Excuse me?
When the cop asks you for show your license and insurance, you do it. Even though they pull you over, why are you pulling me over, bro? Even if you think they pulling you over for no reason, you got to cooperate. You got to cooperate, right? So when they ask for license and insurance, you give it to them.
Call your supervisor. Why did you pull me over?
37, 35. I'm cooperating with the driver. I've already told you.
Why did you pull me over?
Step out of the vehicle.
No.
Step out.
You give it to them, and then you still say, I need to talk to your supervisor. I feel uncomfortable with you. Call your supervisor. You don't close the door. Soon as you close the door, that's resisting arrest. You are now have committed a crime. You are now under arrest.
25 seconds. For 94, the driver just slammed the door and locked it.
Call your supervisor.
Yep.
Unit
25 seconds. If anybody responding, come in from Commonwealth, block the vehicle, please.
Well, I'm coming west on Commonwealth. I'll be there in a second.
Keep your hands where I can see them, sir. My camera's on too.
And if you get caught in this situation and your windows are tinted, you better have your hands up at all times, bro. Because guess what? That guy, that youngster, he put himself in a bad position because if he got his hands down and he get to moving, that cop could have pulled the gun and started shooting. But if you ever do that, you better make sure your hands up.
I've already told you. Okay. Okay. Right now you're under arrest for resisting. You understand? You're under arrest for resisting. The longer you take us on, the worse it's going to be. Keep your hands where I can see them, sir. Okay. Sir, this is your last warning to open the vehicle and exit before we're going to break the window.
When they tell you that, catch your snap and just go and open up the door, because either way it go, you're going to jail anyway. Go on, open up the door, put your hands behind your back, and go and go to jail. Evading arrest, well, it depends on how they would have put it. Because I don't know how they could have did this. This could have been kind of funny. They could have charged him with a felony because evading, like doing that in a motor vehicle, is a felony. So this case right here is kind of tricky. I think they charged him with a felony because if you're evading in a vehicle, it's a felony. If you're doing it on feet, it's a misdemeanor. So let's keep going. He should have got out of the car, guys, but he didn't.
Open the door and exit, or we are going to break the window. Open the door and exit, or we are going to break the window.
Well, we're conducting a traffic stop right now. You need it.
No, he's under arrest.
Hey, I'll lock the car. I'm gonna push it up.
Open the door and exit. You are under arrest for resisting. Open the door and exit. You are under arrest for resisting. Open the door and exit. You are under arrest for resisting. Open the door and exit. You are under arrest for resisting.
Can you unlock the door and step out? I will. Can you step out? You're being done. There's a traffic stop being conducted. You're required to comply.
Vehicle's locked in.
Yes.
He's locked it up. He's putting the window down.
Correct.
I tried to talk to
Huh? Okay. So what did he ask for when he I guess, talked to you?
When he pulled me over, he walked up, opened my door, my window don't work, right? And then I said, so what I did wrong?
Yeah.
He said, well, for one, your headlights are off under this weather. I'm like, there's multiple people headlights.
Okay, that's still
and then there's no rain.
It doesn't matter. You're still required to have headlights on.
Can you pull that law up?
Huh?
Can you pull that law up?
Yeah, when you step out of the car, I will.
Hey.
Can you call your supervisor?
Huh?
Can you call your supervisor?
All right, go for it.
Exit the vehicle now! Exit the vehicle! Show me your hands.
Now that cop shouldn't have punched him. If you're a police officer and you're watching this live, you got to hold your emotion. That's where your police training supposed to kick in. So all y'all that's watching, the police training is supposed to kick in right here. He was not supposed to punch that guy in the face, bro. The cop is not trained properly. He's not. He let his emotions take over. This is really a minor situation with the youngster. Yeah, the youngster should have got out the car. He didn't. It happens. That's what's going to happen. This is really a minor situation to that cop. He's supposed to be more advanced and trained in handling this type of situation.
Here.
10:33 at 16:21 hours.
Here. What is your reason, sir? What is your reason? Step out now. All right. Get on the ground. No, don't touch it. Get on the ground.
I see that other punch. I think that is a different cop that punched him. Punched him in the face and threw him to the ground.
Oh, man, they put him out that way. Hands behind your back.
At this point, guys, they're kicking him. They're kicking him at this point. Then look, it's a black cop right there. They were kicking him, bro. Crazy work.
What's wrong with you?
What you mean? I was putting my hands behind my back. I was on.
Ain't no talking now, man. Ain't no talking. What's going on, man? You're under arrest. That's what's going on.
No,
yes, bro. Yes.
That's a lawful reason, bro.
That's crazy work, guys. That's crazy work. Now, this video, I just broke down how you handle and you get in this type of situation. Don't ever get in your emotions, guys. Don't ever get in your emotions. Okay, now I'm gonna go back over here. That's crazy work.
You have to look at that video and say, this does not reflect our training, our policies, or our values. And you need to terminate that officer immediately. Immediately. Because as Attorney Daniels and I deliberated over this matter, if you don't terminate this officer and you condone this type of police excessive force, then it sends a message to all of the other police officers on the Jacksonville Sheriff's Office team. It tells them it is okay for you to treat citizens like this. It is okay to treat black motorists like this. In America, it is not okay. It is not okay to treat our citizens like this. I know you're going to hear from his mother and father before you hear from William, but Attorney Daniels and I were astonished to hear his father, Alton Solomon, say, when I was 22 years old, the Sheriff's Department did a similar thing to me. They put me face down on the ground at gunpoint. And it wasn't right then, Mr. Solomon, and it wasn't right when they did it to William. It's never right to treat citizens like this. America, we're better than this. We're at a crossroads. We are a democracy. We believe in the Constitution. We are not a police state where the police can do anything they want to citizens without any accountability. We have to hold everybody accountable. That is what makes America the great beacon of hope and justice for the rest of the world to marvel. Thank you, Attorney Daniels. Thank you.
Thank you, Ben. Real quick, just remind this is it's a culture of the Jacksonville Sheriff Office. I've represented several people down here, names such as Jamie Johnson, LaKen Wood, so y'all remember was vicious beaten by the Jacksonville Sheriff Office. And you know, the common denominator, Jamie Johnson, they stopped him for a seatbelt violation. LaKen Woods, they stopped him for a seatbelt violation. And they tried to say they stopped Mr. McNeil for a seatbelt violation, but the video showed he had his seatbelt on. Listen, next person gonna bring up Attorney Griggs and Attorney Keefe real quickly to say some words. We're gonna bring in Dr. Davis, of the president of Livingston College. Come on up real quick.
Attorney Gerald Griggs, G-E-R-A-L-D, G-R-I-G-G-S, and I am a civil rights attorney in Atlanta. And when I saw the video of what happened to Mr. McNeil, I was aghast. It was horrific
for somebody who was simply exercising their Fourth Amendment rights to ask for a supervisor as to why he was being pulled over, and to see the video on multiple angles of him not resisting, his hands up, and for him to be punched in his face after breaking the glass, ripped out onto the floor, onto the ground, and then beaten is atrocious anywhere in America. But Florida has a police brutality problem. It's had a police brutality problem for a long time. And so as a native of the state of Georgia, whose mother is from Jacksonville, I know far too well of the brutality here in Jacksonville. And so what we are calling for is justice. Yes. This is not a war on police. That's right. This is about justice and accountability for everyone. Amen. Amen. So to the sheriff, if you're truly about law and order, you need to turn the law and order on that officer that brutalized Mr. McNeil. Because let's be clear, in this country, nobody's above the law. Nobody can violate the Constitution and not have consequences. And so it's incumbent upon everyone to understand that this could have been us. This could have been me. This could have been you. And but for William's calm nature, his ability to de-escalate, his ability to remain calm. So I was talking in the back and somebody reminded me of some of the heroes.
All right, so unfortunately that live feed from Jackson
Daniels, Mr. Crump, Mr. Gregg, Mr. Covington. I'm out of Greensboro, North Carolina, Charlotte, North Carolina, and we flew in because this case is important. It represents everything we stand for. I've stood toe-to-toe with Mr. Daniels and Mr. Crump and these matters, and we just don't want them to be any more matters like this. We won't change. And I think that the most important part about this is at this stage, I think we've had a lot of conversations about Mr. McNeil and how he responded. But the question is now is how is Jacksonville, Florida going to respond? That's the question. I mean, as we look and we see our youth and we try to give an understanding of what to do in these encounters, what happens when we do all the right things and it still turns out wrong? What happens next? How do we turn the page? How do we make it to where you don't have to fly all these people in to fight for something that should have never happened in the first place? And so I would like to say a couple things. I would like to say, first, I'm honored to be here, and we are here to fight for you, and we're going to fight, and we're going to stay as long as it takes. We're flying every time we need to. I'll come back. We'll come back. But we want accountability, and we want it at all levels. And we don't want this to be a situation swept underneath the rug, because if not, it's going to happen to somebody else. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
I think that was the supervisor that came over there to the passenger side. I think that was the supervisor that talked to him before they actually knocked that window out, because that's the guy who gave them the authority to do what you got to do. I think that was the supervisor.
And it happened on the video. He was a very measured young man, and he was trained at a historically black college and university of Livingston College in North Carolina, and it exemplified the best that our children are. You know, when you think about this moment, this truly is what he exhibited was a 21st century Rosa Parks moment, where an African American had the audacity to say, I deserve equal justice under the law. I deserve to be treated like a human being with all the respect that a human being is entitled to. And
okay, I didn't catch that part. I got to go back and look over it, but I thought he was the supervisor.
Been. And I guess as Attorney Daniels told me, no, we know what the narrative would have been, because he said they didn't know he was filming, and so they wrote these reports that were completely contradicted by the video. And so, God knows you're gonna hear from his mother and father in a minute. I can't think of what black mothers must feel when they watch that video. It's hard if you're not a black mother to fathom how much you have to pray every time your child leaves the house that they don't become the next hashtag. Well, he's a hashtag, and thank God he's here because he represents the best of us. Livingston College, HBCUs around America can be proud of William McNeil Jr. Yeah. And President Anthony Davis, the president of Livingston College, who, like Attorney Daniels and I, are a great Omega man, tell the story. Did not think it robbery to come and stand with his student to let them know that all the HBCU family stands with them. So we're going to hear from this great leader, President Anthony Davis.
The woods are lovely, dark and deep, but we have miles to go before we sleep, and miles to go before we sleep, and miles to go before we sleep. Meaning that guess what? We have a lot of work to do. My name is Dr. Anthony J. Davis. I am the 13th president of Livingstone College, an HBCU in Salisbury, North Carolina, where Will, that is my affectionate term for him, Will, attends. A biology major who volunteers to play in the marching band. A biology major, not a music major, a biology major that volunteers to play in the marching band. A volunteer in the marching band, an academic student in biology, but also spends time on the weekends being a servant. Like Dr. King said, all of us can be great because all of us can serve. This young man will volunteer on the weekends helping young men and women who don't have the funds to get their cars repaired. He'll find a little corner with a shade tree and he'll go ahead and he'll help students from that old hymn book, If I Can Help Somebody. Amen. As I pass along, if I could cheer somebody with a word or a song, if I can show somebody that they're traveling wrong, then my living will not be in vain. But we see in that video that his rights were violated.
Yes, they were.
You know, but he showed us restraint. He showed us a little resolve, showed us resistance.
Yes.
But you know what is he showing us today by standing here tall and strong? That he's resilient,
That part.
which means he's going to bounce back. And so, my appeal, first of all, I want this family to know that the entire Blue Bear Nation stands with Will. Mm-hmm. We stand with you. Mm-hmm. And we believe in what Dr. King said, an injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere.
Yes, sir.
Just know this. There are consequences, and repercussions for your actions. Mm-hmm. On my campus, I haven't had a fight since I've been president in 3 years. You know why? My students know that any act of violence, there are consequences and repercussions. They know that they go home. At minimum, the sheriff who assaulted Will needs to go home.
Hello, I'm Latoya Solomon. I'm Williams McNeil's mother. He's my firstborn. He's also my only son. I have 4 children. He is the only boy. I have 3 girls. The day I seen that video, I couldn't finish it past the window breaking. It wasn't until maybe a few months ago, I finally finished the whole video. But I'm thankful to God for protecting him, because I know what the outcomes could have been. But I believe in faith in God. It's what protected my only son, and I thank God for that.
Morning.
Good morning.
I'm Alton Solomon, the father, stepfather, but I can't call him my stepson because this is my son.
Yes, sir.
I've been through what he's been through. To see that video made me go back to the moment when I was 22. It hurted. It made me upset. But I seen what my son did that I had to do. And he sat right. And he did right. To see that is a hurting feeling. To be a father that loved God first. And to see all my kids not being able to wake up in the morning and get a phone call saying your child is gone. That's a hurting feeling, but I thank God.
Yes.
Because God got him.
Yeah.
Y'all keep us in prayer.
William just gonna make a few remarks before we go to Q&A, and keep this family in prayer, because as his mother and father both said, they knew he could have been the next hashtag. It could have been a different result had he not kept his demeanor.
First of all, I want to thank God for bringing everybody here together, and thank y'all for supporting me. That day, I just really wanted to know, why I was getting pulled over and why I needed to step out the car when I know I didn't do nothing wrong. I was really just scared. And yeah, that's it.
Okay, and that's enough, William. Thank you. Justice for William McNeil.
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 We have to stand up for our children. We have to speak up for our children, and we have to fight for our children. If we don't fight for our children, nobody else is going to fight for our children. That's what Attorney Daniels, our legal team, we have vowed to fight for justice for William McNeil. And we're going to need all of y'all fighting with us. Everybody.
Tell them to identify themselves and answer the question.
And so we're going to have a few questions and answers from the media. And if you could identify yourself when you ask your question from the media. Yes, ma'am.
I'm not sure if William
Can you identify yourself?
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm with WJXC District X. I don't know if William can answer this or not, but I know the incident happened in February. What gave you the courage to share the video now?
Attorney Daniels.
That's a great question. William was very afraid, even after the arrest and going in for the first appearance and making a decision to take a plea that he should not have taken a plea to. He was suffering from a concussion. That should have been identified by the courts. But to answer your question, he experienced a traumatic incident where a sworn officer who taken an oath to uphold the law broke the law and beat him. So he's very afraid. He didn't know what could be the consequences or repercussions of presenting, but he, with his faith in his family and speaking with his legal team, he decided to move forward in this matter, particularly that it's not just about William McNeil. It can be somebody else tomorrow, and that's what drove him to come forward.
I would simply say this. Thank God he recorded that video. Thank God he recorded that video.
George Floyd.
Yeah, I mean, when you think about all the young people should be recording these interactions with law enforcement, because what it tells us, just like with George Floyd, if we don't record the video, we can see what they put in the police report with George Floyd before they realized the video existed.
Right.
And now we see what they put in the police report before they realized William McNeil video existed. So everybody, make sure you keep recording all of these interactions with law enforcement.
Right here.
William, are you able to share what you were taught growing up about police encounters, and how did that come into play in the
Good question. Very good question.
What I was taught is to, instead of fighting them on the street where we don't have power at, fight them in the courts.
Amen.
So there's a lot. There's a lot going through.
Right here. Right here.
Jake Snowman, actually, Jax, the sheriff has basically said if a complaint had been filed before this would have come to light.
You want? I go first. Okay, you go first. Let's go first. You got it. Yeah, you come too.
He was never interviewed by the state attorney. No. He was never interviewed by State Attorney Melissa Nelson's office. Never once did they talk to this young man. And I would assume they saw the body cam video from the police department, and they said, well, no problem. They saw everything that America is seeing, and they said, no problem. And that is the problem. That is the problem.
That's a great question. So in the report, it talks about force was used. The sheriff said if a force is used, that his people will review it, the body camera footage, and as such. As Attorney Crump said, that the state's attorney's office, how can you make a conclusion that there's no criminality in the face of, if a picture's worth 1,000, a video worth 10,000?
A million.
But more importantly, as a of justice, that's the job of a prosecutor, to seek the truth. Did not even come and speak to the victim in the case. I know one from in Georgia, Gerald, the prosecutor usually talk to the victim because they have victim rights. How can you make a determination of no criminality before you even get a chance to talk to Mr. McNeil? What I believe it was a, and I'm gonna say it, a whitewashing. Whitewashing.
Yeah.
But for that video, we would not be here. And we thank God that Ms. McNeil had the courage to record.
And let me address the first part of your question about why he didn't make an internal complaint. You watch that video. What is alarming to me is that there are several officers on the scene. And they seem like it was business as usual.
It is. Exactly.
And so, how can you trust a system like that to say, oh, who are you going to report the police to? The police? That's why we believe you need an independent investigation separate from the state attorney's office here in Jacksonville, Florida. We do not believe that is an independent investigation. I know several citizens have said they believe a conflict of interest arises with the state attorney and the sheriff's office in Jacksonville. A person who is unbiased looking at this video sees William as a victim. Unfortunately and apparently, the state attorney or the sheriff's department never saw William as a victim.
Yep.
They only saw him as a perpetrator, a criminal, the worst that they would define a person. But we saw the best in William. We see the best in our children, just like you see the best in your children. This is about driving while black. We don't believe they ever would have done that had this been a young white citizen.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
I have a couple questions.
Who are you?
My name is Will Brown. I work for Jacksonville Today.
Okay.
First, as someone who's named William, William, do you prefer Will or William? Will? Okay. Secondly, Mr. McNeil, when you immediately requested a supervisor, what was it that had you feel uncomfortable to the point of immediately saying, I would like a supervisor? Was there something about the officer's conduct or the way that the stop happened that immediately led you to say, I would like a supervisor?
So one thing that the sheriff released some videos, and according to William, there's another video, another officer's there. They didn't release this video. Officer had him at gunpoint. So now you're at gunpoint, and they telling you for not having headlights on, you better ask for a supervisor.
So the request, the gunpoint, you were at gunpoint?
Not initially, but he was continuing to request for us. It was off the camera. You couldn't see it. According to William, he was being held at gunpoint by one of these officers. So the fact remains that this video shows what happened from the initial assault, and the body camera showed the initial interaction. But at the same time, what's your name?
Will.
Will, what we're talking about is somebody getting pulled over for not having headlights on during the day. That's suspicious within itself. You know, I've been black my whole 44 years. You know, if somebody's telling me they pulling me over not having headlights on in this day outside and no rain and anything, I'm concerned.
Yeah.
What are you really pulling me over for? Can you bring your supervisor to the scene? And that was his response. Over right here. Your media?
Yeah,
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
I'm Wanda P. with Hot 106.5 Radio,
Okay.
a Cox Media news station. Action News Jax is our news partner. Can I ask a follow-up to what Will was asking? Have you all identified who that officer was that held him at gunpoint? And then my actual question is about William's recovery. What is it that he's recovering from his injuries, if you can answer?
Yeah, at this point, we think it's more appropriate that the Jacksonville Sheriff's Department identify the officers. We don't want to speculate. If they're proud of the conduct on the video, then they should release the officers' names. I'm going to have Attorney Daniels talk about William's recovery and the symptoms that he experienced. I mean, this was a horrific, brutal encounter. Did y'all see where they was knocking his head against the concrete while he was in handcuffs?
So, you know, not to go too much into William.
Go another knee.
Permanent injuries. You can see he had a fractured tooth. His tooth actually went through his lip where he had to endure stitches, a closed head injury. He was concussed, and he's still on evaluation from doctors at this time. Dr. Davis knows William as a president of Livingstone Colleges, and he can see the cognitive decline. So this is a long recovery for him. These are things that we are ensure that he get the help that he need, so he can get back on track. All right.
Yeah. Let me say this on that there, if you could, and I want you to say anything here. Let William just stand, because I noticed this morning. His teeth was actually broke when
they knocked his teeth out his mouth, bro.
This was a violent encounter. His tooth went into his lip, and he has stitches all on his lips. I mean, this is not good policing. Nobody can say this is good policing.
And it wasn't just one officer. When William was on the ground, it was multiple officers hitting him, put his head into the concrete. So one officer may have been suspended or take police powers away from him, but there's more to come. Right here, it's somebody in the back over here. Right here, I got you.
Wow, bro.
I mean, the video is clear. He was punched in the face. I mean, outside the car. It's clear that he's punched in the face outside the car.
Yeah. And that's good. We invite the media, just like they did with George Floyd. It is good to slow down the video and go frame by frame and count the excessive use of force incidents on this young man, who only crime allegedly was he didn't have his headlights on and he didn't have his seatbelt on. Things that most people would get a notice to appear. He got punches in his face, head beat against the concrete, and a gun drawn on him. That is excessive in the most kind way of expressing it. That is excessive force 101.
Yeah, to answer the question, absolutely, he was hit outside the car. Go ahead.
Yeah, behavior, he gonna win that case. Yep. They did him all type of ways. They knocked his teeth out and did him real bad. That was cold.
We're civil rights attorneys, and we plan to exploit every possible legal remedy to get some measure of justice for William McNeil Jr. Every possible legal remedy. If this was your child, we're going to do everything that you would want done if this was your child.
I'm sorry, right here. You know, I'm gonna refrain from William from answering that question. I think that, like I said, he's still under care of a doctor. Obviously, he's under care of a physician. He still has some issues going on. Like I said, it was our hope and prayer that he able to make a full recovery, but he's still trying to come back. Any other questions?
And just let me say this while we get ready to take the last question. Really, we want you all to think about if this was your child. That's right. Black and white alike. We want you to think about if this was your son, young son doing everything right. And I know some of you all can't fathom the police stopping your child for driving without headlights in broad daylight. We think it's pretextual. We think it's racial profiling. But I want you to try to put yourself in our shoes. Try to put yourself in William's shoes just for a second. The police stop you and tell you, you say, why are you stopping me? And they say, well, you don't have your headlights on and it's raining. And you look and you're like, there's no rain. Why are you stopping me? And all he does, why I say it's a Rosa Parks 21st century moment, he as a black person says, you know, I'm tired of it. I'm going to try to demand my constitutional rights. That's the only thing that William McNeil did. And that's the only thing you would want your children to do. To say, as a citizen, don't I have the right to know why you're violating my Fourth Amendment rights against search and seizure unlawfully? That's it. Nothing more. So search your hearts, America. If this was your child, wouldn't you be proud that William kept his calmness and his demeanor and de-escalated it? And let that govern you when you call on the sheriff to hold these police officers accountable. Because that's what we have to get here. We have to have accountability. Attorney Daniels, is there anything else?
Got one more question up in the front.
So this question is for Mr. McNeil or for Mr. and Mrs. Sterling. Will has now gone, this video has been seen worldwide. What is something you would like the world to know about your son or will about yourself that they don't know, but you think that they should know?
Could you repeat your question? I'm sorry.
What is something you would like the world to know about your son that they do not know, but you believe they should know? We should know.
Just that he is a really, really good man of God. He's a mentor of all the children in the neighborhood. He's a self-taught musician in our church. I'm sorry? What did you ask me? Oh, he plays the trombone. He taught himself how to play the keyboard. He also taught himself how to play the drums. So he's a really good son.
All right, so we are continuing to listen into this press conference right here where attorney.
Yeah, guys, if you get pulled over, even though if you think it's wrong or whatever, you go through the motions. You give them the license. You keep calm. You go through the motions. But make sure, which is very important, you are recording. Because once you're recording and you go to court, that's all he had to do. All he had to do was just go through the motions, cut the camera on, go through the motions, do everything they tell him to do, stay calm, get the tickets, and then when you go to court, you got a video showing that you got your seatbelt on. You got a video showing that it's not raining. Guess what happens? Cases get dismissed. That's all you got to do, guys. You don't, like they asked that guy, they asked him a question. He told them something that he should have did. They asked him, how can people avoid this type of situation? He said, the guy who got assaulted said, don't handle it in the street, handle it in the courts. That's all he had to do. That's all he had to do. And he'd have been straight. But these cops, bro, which is way worse than what he did. These cops gotta stop. I don't know what they gotta do with these cops, man. But these cops gotta do a whole lot better. And like these lawyers and the people that are at this press conference, what they are not doing is saying that as a kid, as a youngster, do what they tell you to do and worry about the rest in court. You do have to prove who you are, bro. If a cop come up and asks you to identify yourself, you got to show them your ID. I mean, you have to. So I appreciate y'all for joining me. Everybody that's been rocking with me, I appreciate y'all. Hit the subscribe button and cut the notification bell on so you'll be notified whenever I go live again. When I go live later on the walk down, I'm going to talk about this more in thorough conversation. When I go live later on the walk down, I'm going to talk more about this situation, about how to handle when you get pulled over by a cop. I'm going to talk more about this intensively. Even if you want to be a cop, some people might be in law enforcement. Some people might want to be a police officer. I'm going to talk about it on both sides, right? So with that being said, y'all, hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell. I'm going to give you a little bit of time to do this before we get out of here. Hit the subscribe button and click on that notification bell so you'll know whenever I go live. I appreciate y'all for joining me. I appreciate everybody for rocking with me. I love all the comments. Everybody that's been coming in, being real intelligent. I really appreciate that. So with that being said, I love and I appreciate y'all. Make sure you hit the notification bell. Subscribe to the channel. Hit the like button. With that being said, to the next one, I'm out.